He was bound at the entrance to the presidential podium simply for proudly holding an unfurled MAGA flag. Without warning or investigation, a security guard branded him a criminal in front of a stunned crowd. But when it became clear who this offender really was, everything changed in a split second, and the one who thought himself the ultimate enforcer suddenly realized his own powerlessness. Here's how it all began. A broad avenue in front of the presidential palace was packed with people waiting for a major event. The president was scheduled to appear soon. The air was heavy with anticipation and a hint of tension. Journalists, volunteers, high-ranking officials, and curious onlookers all bustled about in the crowd. Our hero, a tall man with a confident gaze and bearing, calmly walked alongside the barricades, holding up a fully unfurled MAGA flag. For many, it was just a familiar political symbol, but to him, it represented loyalty and pride in the beliefs he championed. Besides, he hadn't come here by accident. At that very moment, a security guard named Roy, short but solidly built, spotted our hero from afar. His face twisted into a scowl of immediate hostility. He decided that anyone carrying that flag must be a troublemaker, and he didn't waste a second politely trying to find out who this man really was. "Hey, you!" Roy barked as he approached. "Put that rag away and get out of here. This is a private event, and you have no business being here." The situation felt absurd, given that the event had been announced as public. Even so, our hero remained calm and responded with a hint of sarcasm. "Are you sure? Because I'm pretty sure I'm here by personal invitation." Roy snorted in contempt. "I don't care who invited you. You're not getting in. And put that flag away. We don't want to stir up any trouble." People nearby began noticing the confrontation. Some took out their phones, sensing something interesting was about to go down. But the hero merely smiled faintly. "Thanks for the tip, buddy, but I'm not putting the flag away." His measured tone only further enraged the guard. Roy felt like he was losing control of the situation. Irritated by the stranger's confident tone, Roy started to work himself up even more. Narrowing his eyes in anger, he grabbed his radio. "Guys, we've got a troublemaker here with a flag. Whatever. Anyway, I need backup at the entrance to the podium." While he was calling for reinforcements, our hero stood by calmly, showing no sign of fear. He noticed a small group of onlookers gathering around. Some quietly voiced their support or disapproval. Why are they treating him like that? He's just holding a flag. Others openly mocked Roy, recognizing he was overplaying his role. "You might want to check the guest list," the hero suggested again, calmly taking a step toward the guard. But Roy was already spoiling for a fight. Along with two other guards, riding high on his own sense of authority, he pulled out a set of plastic zip ties and almost ceremoniously declared, "You're under arrest for provocation and disobedience." Hearing this, the hero couldn't hold back a sarcastic smile. "Is this your new hospitality policy? I appreciate innovation, but maybe you should double-check why I'm here." Roy shot a glance at his colleagues and ordered, "Tie him up and strap him to that pole. Too many drifters hanging around. Let everyone see how we handle extremists." In a flash, the hero found himself with his hands bound behind his back, tied to a metal pole, framed by his own unfurled flag leaning against that same post. The crowd gasped. Someone was clearly recording the whole incident, anticipating sensational headlines in the news. Despite the pain, the hero mustered the strength to speak with a wry grin. "And this is what you call a free country? Well, looks like I'll just have to wait for the next stage of the show, folks." A commotion arose in the distance, and people began to part ways to let a few black SUVs with flashing lights drive through. It was the motorcade everyone had been expecting. A small national flag fluttered atop the first vehicle, making it obvious that someone high-ranking was about to arrive. Roy, the security guard, paled when he saw the motorcade approaching. Suddenly, the head of the presidential office's security team jumped out of one of the vehicles. Spotting the man tied up with a MAGA flag, he sprinted over to Roy. "What on earth have you done? Release him immediately!" Roy, clearly rattled by the abrupt command, stammered in defense. I thought he was a provocateur. He had no right to be here." The security chief waved him off in anger. "A provocateur? He's here as a personal guest of the president. Untie him right now before you wind up facing charges for exceeding your authority." The onlookers gasped, but the loudest gasp came from Roy himself. His overblown confidence vanished in an instant. He rushed to untie our hero, muttering, "I'm sorry, I didn't know. Please, I was just doing my job." Once the zip ties were removed from the weary but still composed man, he rubbed his wrists a bit and slowly rose to his feet, leaning on his now slightly crumpled but still proudly raised MAGA flag. An ironic smile flickered across his face. Probably would have helped to check the guest list first. Maybe judging by appearances, or flags, isn't the best idea, huh? The crowd began to clap. Some laughed, while others recorded the whole thing on their phones, sensing the video would go viral on social media. Roy stood pale-faced, realizing he'd just made a colossal blunder. Surrounded by the security chief and several important figures, our hero calmly straightened his clothes and waved the MAGA flag, as if checking it for damage after his adventure. Then he threw a mocking glance at Roy. "Let's hope this serves as a lesson. Sometimes the invited guest shows up with exactly the flag they're supposed to bring. Political discrimination can cut both ways. One day you treat me like the enemy, and tomorrow you might overlook someone who's truly dangerous." Just then, another car arrived, and the door swung open. The president himself, apparently sensing the growing commotion, stepped out for a moment to greet his guest in person. "Good to see you, my friend. I hear there was a little misunderstanding here." The crowd buzzed with excitement. Roy wished he could vanish on the spot, while a satisfied smirk appeared on our hero's face. Well, it turned out for the best. We all learned something from it, didn't we? The president clapped him on the shoulder in a friendly manner, and together they headed off to the venue where the speech was to be given. Behind them, another little drama was unfolding. One of Roy's co-workers whispered to him, "So, looks like you'll be searching for a new job today, buddy." Roy just shrugged, realizing that his cockiness and blind prejudice had cost him his reputation. Meanwhile, our hero stayed firmly in the spotlight, earning well-deserved recognition without losing his sense of humor and composed dignity. The crowd fully appreciated the scene. Some burst into applause, others shouted words of support, and still others were already typing up social media posts with eye-catching headlines like, "Security guard ties up the president's guest, calls him a provocateur." And so, justice prevailed, the antagonist learned a crucial lesson, and the hero, still proudly holding his MAGA flag, continued on to the event he had been personally invited to by none other than the president himself. This story stood as a vivid reminder that genuine character and strong convictions matter far more than the stereotypes under which even those who maintain order can sometimes bend.